Nicolas Cage, a world-renowned actor, sporadic director, the man could not run to more extremes of hot and cold if he was the shower I had in university. To say he divides opinion is something of an understatement. He's either the world's best worst actor or the world's worst best actor. If you say you're on the fence about him, you are both a liar and a nerd. As such, his back catalogue is astonishingly varied. Sometimes you can't believe what you're seeing, and other times you can't believe what you're seeing. My name is Adam Cleary, and these are 5 awesome Nicolas Cage performances, and 5 that sucked. Sucked! Season of the Witch 2011. Here's how Nicolas Cage himself describes why he took the role of Baron von Bleerbrook, or however the hell you meant to pronounce it, for 2011's Season of the Witch. I wanted to make a movie that was really scary, play a knight and hang out in the forest. I've wanted to do that for a few years now, and that's exactly what this movie provided me with. Presumably by this he means that he really wanted to stand around and look really miserable and wooden for over an hour. Here's the thought, Nick. Next time you get the urge to stand in a forest and play a knight, maybe just do it in your own time, you big weirdo. Cage actually got a Razzie nomination for this, but lost, if lost is even the right word for that, to Adam Sandler. Awesome Adaptation 2002. What's better than one Nicolas Cage? That's right, 8 million Nicolas Cages, but sadly the 8 million Nicolas Cage film hasn't been made yet, but we do have the 2 Nicolas Cage movie, the very meta Spike Jonze directed, Oscar-nominated Adaptation. In it, Cage plays a fictionalized version of writer Charlie Kaufman, as well as his imaginary twin brother, Donald, and it depicts his real-life attempts, I say real-life, it was highly dramatized for the film, real-life attempts to get a movie made. Cage is fantastic as both the self-loathing Charlie, which really brings out his OTT stick, as well as the more introverted Donald, for which he slaps on the melancholy. He was deservedly nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role, but lost out to Adrien Brody for The Pianist. That doesn't really seem fair to me, because in The Pianist, Adrien Brody only plays 1 character, and here Cage plays 2. That's just maths. Sucked Trespass 2011. Trespass is dumb, nasty, has a weak script, and is entirely self-involved, and tragically this is now just the kind of film Cage has become renowned for being in. Here though, he plays Kyle Miller, a fast-talking, big-shot businessman whose home is invaded by a gang of robbers masquerading as police officers. But that's fine, that doesn't matter, because apparently he hates his family. I think you're not really sure whether or not he's meant to, it just comes off that way. Somehow, despite the movie being quite roundly panned, everybody in it was praised for their performances, except for Nicolas Cage, which given the amount of overacting on display is understandable. Awesome Bringing Out the Dead, 1999. When looking at the respective CVs of either Nicolas Cage or Martin Scorsese, you would not pull out Bringing Out the Dead as one of their respective career highlights, but even though it went under the radar, and that's me apparently doing under the radar, it really is. Cage plays Frank Pierce, a burned-out, insomniac, alcoholic paramedic who speeds around the city late at night trying to save people from whatever horrible thing has befallen them that evening. A shooting, a horrible accident, the Chitauri invasion, whatever. Plus, he is constantly haunted by the hallucinations of all the people he is unable to save. And it's such a complex role, and he plays it absolutely perfectly. The haunted look in his eyes, the drooping, defeated expression, he's brilliant. The film just sadly didn't deliver commercially, even if it was well received critically. Sucked Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage is a noted fan of the character of Ghost Rider, even has a tattoo of him on his arm somewhere, so when the chance to play him in a film came up, he jumped at that harder than a spinster at a flying bouquet. Sadly, this was when, well, let's just say at the time when 9 out of 10 superhero films were not great, and I want to be delicate with my words here. The film was absolutely fucking pig shit awful. One of the worst superhero movies ever made. Cage basically does some sort of weird Elvis Presley impersonation similar to his performance in Wild at Heart, and picked up a Razzie for Worst Actor yet again. And then yet again for the film sequel, Ghost Rider Something of Vengeance. Awesome Joe. Right, so in Joe, Cage goes absolutely batshit mental and has a sex and booze-fueled breakdown, but the film is more about him trying to keep his demons in check while he mentors a young man. It's a powerful performance, it's a mature performance, it's a very un-Cage performance, and I will let him explain why he took that role. I had been waiting for the better part of a year to find a script where I could be as emotionally naked as possible, where I didn't have to think too much about it and I could just be and take my memories or my past experiences and flood them into a character that would be the right vessel for it. So, when I read Joe, right away there was an implicit connection with the dialogue where I thought, wow, I understand this man and I think I can play this part in a way where I wouldn't have to act. Batshit crazy with a sex and booze-fueled breakdown, didn't have to act. Strong relate. Sucked. Dying of the Light, 2014. Well, what the f*** happened here then, mate? Once the talk of Tinseltown and a genuine megastar, nowadays Cage will just star in whatever insipid family fare comes his way, including, well, whatever the hell this was meant to be. You know the type, mid-budget, low box office, even lower Rotten Tomato score. These films are almost universally always failures, but Cage continues to do them, presumably because the IRS still has him by the danglies. It is stiff competition, but Dying of the Light is the worst of the absolute bunch. In it, Cage plays an aging CIA agent who is retired or is about to retire. Jesus, I can't even remember, and I have legitimately seen this film. Its director, the once great Paul Schrader, actually distanced himself from the film. I say distanced himself, he disowned it entirely. Awesome. Con Air, 1997. Now we're fucking talking. Cage's run in the 90s as a genuine bona fide action star. Now, I've gone for Con Air here, but this could quite as easily just be The Rock or Face Off. They are all absolutely mega in my obviously quite correct opinion. The setup is as daft and as stupid as you could possibly ever pray for. Cage plays a former Marine, very noble, got the wife at home. He's unjustly imprisoned, but he was only defending her. It's all, a sob story, but he's still hard as nails, and he ends up on a plane that's transporting the criminal world's most evil and most cliched characters, and inevitably, yes, they take over the plane. Explosions, guns, fights, explosions, fights, one-liners, explosions, guns, explosions, guns. It is so silly, but so brilliant. Sucked the Wicker Man. Is this the worst Nicolas Cage performance or simply just the best worst Nicolas Cage performance? Further question, has any movie performance elicited so much unintentional hilarity in such liberal doses? Probably not. Cage gives a suitably insane performance as Edward Malice, a confused fish out of water type who stumbles across a dystopian cultish village. It is, in short, the most unnecessary, unwanted, and ungood remake of a British classic you could possibly hope to see. It is f***ing insane, which does admittedly make it insanely entertaining on some levels, but not even remotely in the kind of ones it was meant to be. Cage dresses up as a bear and runs around and punches some women in the face and then gets roundly shagged by some CGI bees. Yeah. Did he get a Razzie for this one, you ask? Well, does the Pope a funny hat? Awesome. Leaving Las Vegas, 1995. Before he became Nicolas Cage, big-time Hollywood type, he delivered the performance of his career in Leaving Las Vegas, a small-budget indie movie about a dying alcoholic's love affair with a sex worker, and it is just wonderful. The affable drunk and the hooer with a heart of gold, two of Hollywood's most tired cliches, but turned into some of the most wonderful characters in the hands of Nicolas Cage and Elizabeth Shue. Shot in under a month with a cheap 16mm camera and without even the proper filming permits for half the locations they used, it is the exact polar opposite of the kind of tired, awful films Cage has been ruining his career with over the last couple of years. Cage is uninhibited, he is fearless, he studied alcoholism in such great depth before filming took place that there are now so many legendary stories about how blasted he was while shooting this movie, but none of them are true. He's just that good. He got his first and to this day his only Best Actor Oscar for this, and it could not be more thoroughly deserved. If you have not seen Leaving Las Vegas, I implore you, watch it tonight. So there you have it, 5 awesome Nicolas Cage performances and 5 that, well, let's face it, absolutely blew arse. Let us know what you think in a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and boom, there is the subscribe button. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name has been Adam Cleary. I'll let you decide if this was one of my awesome performances or one that was also awesome, and I'll see you soon. The Bee!